Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I have some really cool stuff to show you about food labels. So today's target is about reading food labels. This is one of our foundational pieces for Fit Me, which is that anything you ever eat that comes out of a package, it's a great habit to just start to flip it over and look at what's inside. And if you've never looked at a food label before, I'm going to give you just the quick and dirty because there's a lot of things on there, but I want to show you what I look for, and it can be really eye opening. So, the very first thing that I look for when I flip over to look at a food label is I tend to look right at the top where it says the portion size. So that way you can know if this is one package. So, right here, I've got a Think Thin bar. And so when I look at the nutrition label on this, it says serving size 1 bar. 1 bar is the serving size. So that's the very first thing I look at on food labels. So if I look at this is a bag of chips. Serving size 12 chips. And so that gives you a ballpark idea too of you're like, okay, well, I thought this was going to be I was going to eat the whole thing, but now I realize there's actually 3 servings in here. And the most important thing to note about serving size and is that the everything you see after that is for one serving size. So if you are, for example, looking at a Gatorade, that's about this big, it tends to be 2 serving sizes, but everything that comes after it is just for one. So you would actually double it if you were to consume the entire container. Sometimes they actually say that on there. It'll say like serving sizes for one portion or for the entire package because the food industry actually got some flack for this because they were being deceptive. They would put things that looked like it was one portion, and really it was 2 or 3. And then the food label was really just showing you what it was for one portion. So people would flip it over and be like, oh, this isn't that bad. Like it's only like 90 calories. And really it was 270 calories. They just didn't realize it was for 3 portions. So a lot of food labels also include that. So the next thing that I look for when I am looking at a food label is I like to go and I usually am asking myself, well, what am I doing here? Right? Like, am I having a meal replacement? Like, say I'm out and I'm like, okay, I don't have anything to eat because I don't want to go to fast food and I need to get something in my stomach because I'm hungry. So let me snag a bar and I want to have something that's kind of like a Fit Me plate, but like obviously it's not a Fit Me plate right now. So then I want something that's like a really good serving of protein, maybe a little bit of fat, and maybe some carbs. So I'm thinking, okay, I want a protein heavy choice. So, for example, like this Think Thin bar, and again, I'm not like huge on meal replacement bars, but I do particularly like this one for exactly the reason I told you. It is 240 calories for the entire bar. It is 20 grams of protein, which is about a serving size of protein. It's 10 grams of fat, which is about a serving size of fat on a Fit Me plate. And it's 23 carbs. So it's a little less than I would probably put on a Fit Me plate for carbs. But that's a really good balanced bar. Now, I like these. That's why I have them as like a quick go-to snack. I don't love them replacing a Fit Me plate as a general rule. Why? Because these are tiny and plates are big. And so generally I like to eat as much food as I can and feel full and satisfied. But so for example, that would be like what I would look at this label is it says it's a protein bar. How much protein's in there? Well, usually a serving of protein is 20 to 30 grams. Okay, that's a serving of protein. So this is an actual protein bar because it has 20 to 30 grams. So then I grabbed one of my kids' Cliff Bars. Okay, so this is not a bad choice. This isn't about bad or good. I'm just showing you from the food label. So again, we're going to look at serving size. Serving size on this guy is 1 bar. It's 250 calories, which is actually pretty similar to the Think Thin bar, which is 240. And now we're going to look. So protein on this guy is 9 grams. Fat is 5 grams and carbs are 45. So that's interesting, right? Like it's the same calories, but it's pretty different on how it's distributed. It's about half as much protein and half as much fat and more than double the carbs. So, interesting. Like Let me see why. So, the other thing that I immediately go to on a food label is total sugar. So, on this one, it has 21 grams of sugar. Um, 21 grams of sugar in this kids Kill Cliff bar. So, let's take a look over here. Total sugars, it says, are 0 grams. It says sugar alcohols are 10 grams. And I don't see any sugar alcohols on here. Sugar alcohols tend to be some sort of artificial sweetener. And so what's happening here is that you're actually eating a lot more calories from the fat and the protein, but they have lowered the carbs by using an artificial sweetener. And so if I look on there, let's see if I can find it. I'm looking now at the actual ingredients. It has whey protein isolate. It's got maltitol syrup. There it is. That is the sugar. And then here on this one, so again, I'm looking at the actual ingredients that are included. It's got organic cane syrup and that is the sugar in here. So not bad or good. I just want you to know what you are taking in and why. So this kids bar has a little less protein, has more sugar, and has more carbs. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That is just kids tend to like sweeter things. And they also, if you have a very active kid, it might be really great for their energy. But for you, if you're thinking that you're like, okay, well, I'm going to get a really good protein bar, this might not do the trick for you because it's really high on the sugar, not quite as good on the protein and fat. So those are the things that I look for. I don't worry tons about everything else. I do like to look at the ingredients, and just like a general rule for things that you eat all the time is that like the less ingredients, the better. It's less processed. So for example, I want to show you on here, like we'll just do a couple more food labels. So this is a bag of chips. These are from like a party we went to. So we're going to look at this. Okay. So serving size is 12 chips. I ain't never ate 12 Lay's chips in my life, but 12 chips. And for 12 chips, you get 2 grams of protein. This is not a source of protein. You get 15 carbs and 10 grams of fat. So chips are definitely like that. The reason they're so delicious is because it's that carb fat combo. So yummy, right? If you look at the ingredients, there's not a ton of ingredients, but we can see that it's a lot of oils. So corn, soybean oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil. So it's potatoes fried in vegetable oils and salt. And so that's kind of what you can look at on there and see. And one of the things that would be like a good sanity check for me when I'm looking on here is that I'm not going to eat 12 chips. I might eat 30 chips. And so do I want to eat 30 chips of kind of like more like junk food, right? Carbs and fat fried in vegetable oil. And so that's why I wouldn't even snack on this. I wouldn't. I would save it for an occasion, like at a party when there's some really bomb dip or something, and I would just not have that. But I wanted to show you one other thing that you might have in your pantry that most of the time people think is a great snack, but I want to challenge it a little bit. So this is trail mix. I get it at Kirkland's, or excuse me, not Kirkland, Costco. And I wanted to show you the food label on this because this one's a little bit interesting because you would think it's not chips, right? So you're like, this is a much better choice. But like, let's break this down a little bit. So on here, one serving size, which is where I want you to start looking, is a quarter of a cup. That is like a half a handful, right? A half a handful is about a quarter of a cup. It's 160 calories for like a very small amount of trail mix, 10 grams of fat, which is the same as the chips, 12 grams of carbs, same as the chips, and protein is 6. Now ingredients are different, right? So this obviously has a lot of other ingredients. Wait a second. There. So this actually has a lot of artificial ingredients because of the M&Ms. But it's basically like nutritionally. Sorry, I don't know why my camera went blurry. It went blurry because it went blurry. There it goes. It went blurry because I was holding things close to it. But nutritionally, it's kind of similar to the chips. And the thing about the trail mix is you may not even realize that you're eating loads of it because you think it's a healthy snack. Again, it's not bad or good. I'm just showing you what you can learn from food labels. And so take a look at the food labels on everything you eat and see what you can learn and see how it informs and changes your choices. So that's my little live for you guys on food labels. Post your questions in the comments and I will answer them for you. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.